Hello everybody, Jamie the Board Game Man here. In today's episode, we're going to the year 2020 by Adam's Apple Games. It's a two-player game, which I do have an expansion that allows up to 4 players to play. It's ages 8 and up, takes about 20-25 minutes to play. It is called Thrive. You are lotus flowers trying to dominate the pond with your seed pods. If you're the player that eliminates the other player's seed pods down to the last one, you win the game. Let's head on over to the gamers table, where I'm going to show you how to play Thrive. All right, everybody, here we are at the gaming table with the game Thrive. Here we go. All right, so let's go ahead and go over the components of the game, and then I'll show you how to set up and then how to play the game. What you're trying to do in this game is you're playing one of 2 lotus flowers, competing to control the pond. If you be the first to capture all but one of your opponent's seed pods, and you will win the game. Now here are your lotus flowers here. You have 6 of each color. This is kind of like a, I don't know, kind of like a peach color. And then you have like a green, like a deep blue-green color. And you have 6 of each. You can see if you look real close, you see the flower on there, which is actually pretty cool. You also have the pegs that go in here. You'll actually have these color pegs, and you have the brown color pegs. Now for this is actually a bag that you can take and put all the pieces in. So if you want to take this on the road, you're going to take it somewhere, instead of bringing the whole box with you, you can actually put everything in this little bag with a drawstring. Very, very cool idea. Very, very nice. And then you have the board. But what's crazy, it's not really a board. It's something you just fold. It's almost like a really nice handkerchief of some kind. It actually folds and you put it in an actual bag. So I think that's pretty cool. So I had to show that to you. But you just lay it right out like this. How cool is that? And there you go. There's your game. And what's nice is the way the bottom of these are. You can actually place them on here, and it actually keeps it down. You can actually slide it, and it doesn't move. It doesn't move it at all. I go, how cool is that? But anyhow, that's the components of the game. Also, there is an expansion in the game as well, which you might not get. It's called Thrive Pond Life. Now, there's a couple, I think there's 3 different things in here that we'll go over as soon as I show you the basic game, the basics of it, and then I'll go ahead and I'll tell you the 3 different things they have in this little expansion, which actually does have a space in the box, goes right here. I believe the people that did the Kickstarter actually got this, so I don't know, I don't think that all the games actually came with this, but who knows, maybe you might have it in one that you bought. I remember I bought this some time ago, and I guess the guy must have bought it through Kickstarter or something, that's why I have it. So I'll go over that at the very end. All right, let's go over the setup. Okay, so here is the setup. What you're going to do is you're going to put your 6 pieces, or your seed pods, on the bottom row here. Same with this side. You're also going to take these orange colored pegs, and you're going to put them in the middle. That represents your piece, where you're at, okay? You're also going to put a brown peg in front of that to start off the game. You can see both sides have that. This allows you to know which direction your seed pod can go. So for instance, this is the first player over here. We'll say this is the first player. His first move has to be move up 1. This represents the piece where you're at. That's one thing you want to remember. So he's going to go ahead and move this up 1. So he moves this up 1. Now he's able to pick up 2 pegs and place them anywhere in his seed pods. So let's just say he's going to put one here. Let's put one here. And then maybe he'll put one, let's see, how about over here, like so. Now that would end his turn, okay? So now the next player is going to go ahead, and the only opportunity he can go is move up 1 forward. Let's just say he moves this one up forward, and now he gets to place 2 pegs in any one of his spots. Let's say he puts one here, and he's going to put one here. Now, what he can do on this turn is he can move any one of these 1 space that has one of these here, or I can go ahead and move this up 1, or I can move this up 1 and to the right. So this allows you, every turn you put more and more directional pegs in your seed pods that allows you to place them on the board. So for instance, if I wanted to move this one, I can move it up one, or I can go up one and right one. So kind of diagonally from where I'm at. So I could go up one. Well, actually, I'm sorry. This goes diagonally. So this actually would go up one and then up diagonally one. So that's where that would go. All right. See, I almost messed up here trying to show you how to play it. So you got to really pay attention to the little circles, and where you put the pegs, that will direct you where you get to put your next piece. So that would be my next piece. And then let's just say, okay, I want to put one up here, and I'm going to put one in here, and I'm going to put one back here. Okay, and so on. Next player gets to move. And let's just say I went ahead and moved this one up 2 spaces. So I can go 1, 2. This one moves up 2. And then he can go ahead and choose whichever 2 pods he wants to place in here. So you'll see he goes here. And then we'll take this one. He wants to go right here. Okay, and so on. This player will go. And let's just say I wanted to move this one up. Okay, and I get to put 2 more pegs. So the more turns you make, the more these pegs are able to move around. Now the thing is, you can see me kind of picking and choosing, but you can see the pegs are not all the same size. So some of these don't fit in there very well, and that's the only kind of critique I have in this game, is some of these are really thin that you can actually slip them right in there, and some of them are so thick that they're hard to get in there sometimes. See the way they kind of really stick up high? But that's my only critique of this. So anyway, that happens there. Now let's just say this is how you capture one. You can see here I have one that moves 2 spaces forward. So I can go ahead and move this 2 spaces forward. This one gets knocked out of the game, and then that one takes over that spot. Now, for instance, if this one had this in there, like so, then I can move that up 2, and then that would be knocked out by this one. All right. And then if, say, for instance, if I had one that was up here, okay, this one tells me I can move up 1 and move up diagonally 1. Boom, and I would take out that one. And that's pretty much how the game works. Every turn, you're going to move 1 space or 2, depending on what your pegs allow you to move, and then you'll add 2 more pegs to any 2 of the pods. You can put 2 on the same, or you put 1 and 1 on a different pod. And that's pretty much how you play the game. You're going to go to continue moving until one player has 1 left. As soon as a player has 1 left, then the game is over, and whoever has the remaining pods, more than the 1, will win the game. And that is the basic game of Thrive. Now let's go ahead and go over what is in this expansion. Thrive, I keep saying Thrive Pond Life. And let's go ahead and open this up. And it gives you a little rule book here of what these other things do. Now, there are 3 different things in here. I'll go over the cards first so they're in here. One of them is, here are the cards here, and this will allow you to set it up differently at the very beginning of the game. So this tells you like a setup. Okay, you're going to put 2 on the bottom like so. Like this one would be here and here, and then they want you to put one here, 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 and here to start the game. And then you would do the same on the other side. So these are different cards that show you what to do, how to start them. Then on the back side, it'll actually tell you what kind of pegs will you start off with in the game. So for instance, in this one, you wouldn't start off with that one in the front, you just start off with one in the middle. This one, you would start off with one here, and then you would have one up here, and so on. So that's kind of what these different cards show you. Now, some of these are a little off-center, which really makes your mind kind of go, what? See, this one here, you would actually start over here and there. So technically, your piece is over here. Very weird. I don't know if I like that very much, because that's just a little too strange for me. So this is probably one of the things I don't like. There's a few of these cards like that. See, one off to the left, and you got one that is down 1, and so on. So it's really kind of bizarre. This one is pretty much almost the same, except you go up the second one instead of the first one, and so on. Then you start, this one starts you off by you can go diagonally in each side. So each one of these cards has that. You also have, so that's one of the aspects there. The other one are these power cards. Now these power cards, what they do is you shuffle these up, okay, and each player gets 2, like so, and they get to choose one to keep throughout the game. So for instance, just show this here, okay? These are the two different ones. Let me go ahead and grab something over here because I want to show you this. Okay, here we go. So in case in this one, this will tell you what your ability is and then how many pegs you get to put on afterwards. So for instance, in this one, choose an empty board space and move all pieces in its row and column away one space. And then it will allow you to put one peg on that seed pod. This one here, it says choose a direction and move all your pieces one space in that direction if possible. But you don't get to put any on there. So there's a few of these like that. Here's one here. Choose an opponent's piece. If it does not move during their next turn, they must remove one peg from it. So this is actually kind of forcing your other player to move one of their seed pods. And then on top of that, you get to put 2 pegs into your seed pod. We have this one here, which says, move your rock to any empty board space. What is a rock, you say? Well, there is 3 different rocks in a bag here that you get to use in the game. There's 3 different shapes. There's 3 different rocks and what you do here. And each one, there's 3 of these cards, each one pertaining to one of these rocks. So you can see this one is this one here. What you do is you can place this anywhere on a blank spot here and nobody can land on that space. That's what that's about. And then of course there's other things where you can actually move your rock around and stuff. There's also cards that do that. But there's one for each one of these rocks in there that actually allow you to place a rock there so they cannot move in that spot. So that is that as well. So that's what these power-up cards do. The other one is a multiplayer game. And let me go ahead and get that set up for your 4-player game. Okay, so here is the setup for a 4-player game. There's also a 3-player game setup as well. And here's a 4-player setup. And you can see the center pegs on all 4 of these are different colors. You got orange, blue, white, and black. And that determines who is what color, okay? And then also you have the pegs in there. You have 1 peg each that are facing a different direction. And then what you're going to do, now this game is you're not trying to capture pieces, you're actually trying to score pieces, okay? What I mean by score, let's go ahead and show you how that works. So let's go ahead and say this is player 1, and everyone has the same amount of turns in this game. So whoever starts off is going to, whoever ends up getting the final score, which I'll go over right now, then everyone has that one, as long as everyone has the same amount of turns. So let's just say this is player 1 over here. He has one that's going to go diagonal. So he goes ahead and scores that, okay? And at this point, when you move, you're going to see, okay, did I actually target one of the opponent's pieces? Now, in this case, I did not. So I'm going to go ahead and, just like in a normal game, I would add 2 more pegs to my stash here. So let's see, I'm going to say here, and then I'm going to go ahead and say here. Okay, like so. Okay, then my turn is over. Now it's this player's turn. This player is going to say, well, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and move 1 over here, and then I'm going to go ahead and place one of my pegs here and one of my pegs here. Okay. Then it's going to go over to the next player. The next player is going to go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and move over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 pegs where he's going to try to go here and then here. Oops, I'm sorry. That's wrong. That's the right player. And here. Okay. And then this player moves on and so and so. He's going to go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and move here. And then I'm going to place my 2 pegs like so. See, it's one of those fat pegs, unfortunately. Won't fit in there. That's the problem with some of these pegs. And then let's just say he does this. Okay, just like so. Okay. Now this player here, at the beginning of his turn, he's going to see whether he has threatened one of his players. The one player here, you move up 2, and one to the left, he has now targeted this one. So he scores one of the tokens here. So what he's going to do is you could take any one of these, not the centerpiece, but any one of these. So let's just say he takes this out, and that's 1 point. He lays it right by his side here. So now he has 1 point here. And then he's going to go ahead and add 2 more pegs to his thing. Same with the next player. He's going to say, oh, look at this. I got this one. I move 1 left. Guess what? I just got this guy. So this guy would actually go ahead and see, he would take 1 here, and then he would place it on his, and he would get 1 peg there, and then he moved 2. And he would gain 2 more points. So that's pretty much how the game goes, is you're going to be making your moves until one of you gets 10 points. Once you get 10 of these, then the game ends, and then the rest of the players take their turns. If it's, You know, if like player 1 won it, and obviously 2, 3, and 4 would continue on. If you capture one that only has the middle piece, all right, so this is the only middle piece. I can go up 2 and 1. You would actually take that piece and place it over here. These will only be determined if there is a tiebreaker. So if there's a tiebreaker after everyone has taken their points, then you go to these, and if you took any of these, whoever has the most amount of those wins. And if, of course, there's still a tie, you share the victory there. Now, once all the pegs are out of there, you cannot move that. But on your ladder turn, when you can place 2 in there, you can actually add pegs to it. That way, that way you can move this thing and start moving it around. Okay, once you're missing it. But if it's plain like this, it doesn't go off the board, but it can't move anywhere. All right, and that's how that goes. And that's pretty much the game. First person to get 10 of these pegs wins the game, as long as everyone has the same amount of turns. And of course, if there's a tie, then those middle pieces come into play, and these are the tiebreaker. And that, my friends, is Thrive and the little expansion, Pond Life. Now let's head on over to the game room, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on Thrive. What an interesting little game. Very interesting little game indeed. Definitely abstract, that's for sure. And you really got to pay attention to where you put those pegs in your seed pods. Pretty crazy stuff. I like the components, except for the pegs. You could tell some of them go in real easy. Some of them are a little loose, and some of them are kind of hard to fit in there. They're not all uniform, which makes it a little interesting. But overall, I mean, it's a cool little game. I mean, it's very different. The expansion part of it, I mean, I like the special power cards. Maybe those might, but then again, it takes away from the base game. It really takes away what the game is all about when you use those, but it does mix it up a little bit. So, I mean, it does mix it up. The cards that tell you can start, trying to, okay, you want to start your seed pods in this direction. I mean, you can do that any way you want. I mean, you don't need cards to tell you, hey, let's put 2 over here, 2 over here, and 2 over here to start. I mean, you could do that. So you don't really need those. And also I know that the power-up cards are cool. I mean, I think that's probably the only one I like of the 3. Of course, you have the third one, which the multiplayer. And that's kind of interesting how the scoring is with that, is if you threaten it, then you take a peg away from it. That's interesting. And then whoever has the most pegs obviously wins. And then when you get the actual peg from the middle, when it's the last one, then that goes towards a tiebreaker. So very interesting, very interesting. I don't know if it works good with 4 players. I'm not sure. I have not played it with 4 players, so I don't know. If you have, let me know how it went, and definitely put comments down below. I'd love to see that. And but that's my review on Thrive. I hope you enjoyed it. Very different game altogether. That's probably what I like about it. It's different. It's very different, and I like the components. Like I say, except for the pegs, but the components are really nice. I like the way the components are, and the board isn't really a board. I mean, it's actually just like almost like a nice handkerchief. I mean, it just folds out and it's out. And it was really nice. I mean, really, really nicely done. So I'm going to go ahead and give this game a thumbs up on the thumb meter, just because it's so different, unique, and I enjoy it. I think it's a pretty cool little game. It's definitely one that gets the brain going, that's for sure. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed Thrive. And until next time, everybody, happy gaming.